film that this Toni Storm is about to hit its biggest act, and it might be its best one ever. Now, ever since hitting the major leagues, Toni Storm has had a pretty up and down career to start, and then would eventually get elite. She would start off her career in NXT UK, where she would be a former NXT UK Women's Champion, and it was here that I believe she had one of her best feuds of all time in the Kaylee Ray story that was absolutely awesome. A beautiful story of betrayal. If you haven't checked it out, you need to. But see, for musicians, it's not always the easiest thing to have a great second album, and for Toni Storm, her next one would be a bad one. But you look at Toni Storm and you're like, nah, this rock star has got to pick it up. Her third album is going to be amazing, right? Nope. Sadly, somebody would come slap her just right into reality and remind her of where she actually ranks in this world. Or so we thought. After dusting herself off, or I guess in this instance, wiping the pie off her face, she would take her ball and go. She knew her worth. She knew that she was way too dang good. She remembered exactly who she was at one point in time and said, I want better for myself. I'm going to make better for myself. So this rock star would head on over to AEW, and her fourth album actually looked pretty dang good. People were interested in it. But while it was interesting, it was still a bit short-lived, you know, because we had expected her to finally pick it on up. But can you give us more? Well, she would do just that, depending on who you ask. See, because where this rock star went wasn't a place that was really the most accepting of her. They didn't like the fact that where she came from didn't really like where they were, so she was seen as more of an outcast. And what do you know? She would find two other women who were also just like her as well, and they would form themselves a bit of a band. And it was a pretty dang good story. You had the ones who were wanting to protect their home and believed that they were the ones that should be pushing the future, not these, you know, these outcasts who think that, oh, because you came from the brighter, shinier place, that you could just come on in here and walk all over us. Now, while this story was being told, there was another story that was also being told, and it was that this band was having a bit of an issue with figuring out who was the true lead. And over time, it became very much so apparent that this band isn't probably going to last the longest. They're not the greatest of friends, so to speak. Because the saying is simple. Opposites attract, not similarities. And for these three women, they were just a bit too similar to each other. And by the end of it, the crowd would start rocking with the originals a lot more than they would the outcast. And so this rock star would have a bit of a fall from grace. But boy, oh boy, we were not ready for what was coming next. Because that rock star would put down her guitar, cut her hair, grab the makeup, and said, a star is born, and this star will be timeless. And the story that she would tell would be one for the ages, full of love, betrayal, and bloody murder. And every single minute she was loved, but by the end of it, she was beloved. Everybody had fallen in love with the one that was timeless Toni Storm. And then she would go on to fight a Greek goddess and an evil CEO that was like stealing stuff from every single company. And then she would also go on to fight another Greek goddess who was also holding her crown for like thousands upon thousands of days. Who also had like a bunch of minions as well that she was like bossing around and all that stuff. And apparently she was like an American, Japanese woman as well. Yeah, there's a whole lot of things with that woman right there. That one had a whole lot. But hey, she would take every single one of them down. And we were like, who can stop her? Who can take her off the mountain? But then eventually her past would come back to bite her in the butt. Not staple her in the butt. She did get stapled along the way, but no. Her past would come to bite her in the butt. And also she would run into one hell of a woman, if I do say so myself. And all this while being locked in a spider's trap. And trying as she might, and she definitely did try, she could not overcome the power of a seatbelt. That's why it's always important when you're driving to wear your seatbelt, because if you don't, you just might crash. And for Toni Storm, she has definitely crashed. Now I know what you're thinking. A woman that's accomplished so much, that's had just so many amazing roles throughout her life, how the heck could she even be better than all of this? How could she be better than some of the greatest stories that have ever been told? Some of the greatest roles that have ever been played? Well, while she may have had her recent fall from grace, I do believe she will eventually get back on top. And when she does, it's going to be because of the power of love. Love is a very beautiful four-letter word, and when you do find it, you try to cherish it for as long as you can. But love is also one of the most beloved themes in all of literature. Everybody loves a good romance. I mean, sure, you love to see the action, and you love to see the horror and the comedy, but who doesn't love a good love story? Because while Toni says that she may have been seeking out a murder, I truly believe that she's been seeking out a woman to love. And sure, she may have had these beautiful friendship storylines that turn into absolute evil, bloody betrayal. But what's going to be better than seeing a woman that was on top fall from grace, and the woman that's always been by her side, and Mina Shirakawa, pick her up so they can once again be stars together this time? Well, with this new world that she has just now entered, they have added in these new titles called the AEW Women's World Tag titles. Tag meaning two. It takes two to tango. And these two women are going to rock their hips, dip, and flip all the way to the top, and eventually become the Women's World Tag Team Champions. Once again, being on top, being absolute stars, but this time together. So while it might have looked like as if after All Out, the Toni Storm era was done and that was just it, heck, she even might have thought that as well. She's been telling us ever since 2023, she is going to be timeless. And this story is going to be yet another one that is absolutely, positively timeless. Or this is another storyline of betrayal. She is called the Bloody Angel. Tony, you might want to watch on out for this one. I'm just saying. I don't really know about this one. You might need to find yourself some better friends, because my goodness, man, you can't keep getting betrayed like this. This is sad. Kaylee Ray, Piper Nivens, Mariah May, like, my God, if it's also Mina as well, this is gonna be, oh my goodness, man, 4 for 4. I ain't know you worked there at Wendy's.